We'll go through working at MeridianLink and we'll have some time for questions and answers. So before we dive into our content today, I'm going to leave the screen up just for a few seconds so that anyone watching can capture a screen grab, or if they want to use their phone, pull their phones out right now. We at MeridianLink would really appreciate it if you could register for attending today's event. That gives you, Elena, a chance to follow up and answer any questions you might have that you didn't want to ask the group. Or if you have questions about careers and working at MeridianLink. We are a remote first employer. We are headquartered in Southern California. That's where I'm joining you from today. But we have employees all over the country and a large contingent in Atlanta. So that's, again, where Elena is joining us from today. Prior to COVID, that was where one of our offices was located. So it's a great location, great group of people out there, and a wonderful, wonderful chance to learn more about a company that's still, 4 years on, is remote first and has a great group of people out in Atlanta. All right. So I'm going to walk us through the rise of ESG in corporate America. This will just take a few minutes. So in tech, we like to say TLDR, which means too long, don't read, or didn't read. So if I encapsulated this slide for you, it would be that a strong ESG program can create value for a company in a way that without the program, you wouldn't have that. So let's dive in and actually talk about what we mean by ESG and how it creates value beyond just, you think of companies, especially in tech, as creating a product or service or multiple products or services that consumers will engage with and buy, whether it's a SaaS subscription model or consulting services or something that helps companies get their work done. So how else do we create value beyond selling directly to consumers or selling directly to businesses? And we do this through environmental, social, and governance programs. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit. ESG, the E in ESG is environmental. And it includes the energy. So if we think about the energy our company takes, or the waste, or recycling, our recycling.
I think you're on mute somehow.
Oh no!
There you go.
Okay, I don't know
It was
when
only a
I.
second. It was only for a second.
Okay, that was so bizarre. So like I said, the E in ESG is environmental. So it impacts your policies, whether it is, and thank you for letting me know, whether it's carbon emissions, whether it's recycling, the consequences of the environmental impact we have in our communities, or even it impacts everything from travel policies to uh, the type of faucets you have in your headquarters. Everyone uses energy as a resource, and so every company is affected and affects the environment. So having policies in place to make a positive difference there. When it comes to social criteria, this is the reputation we foster in community. For us at MeridianLink, we work with a lot of community banks and credit unions, so we have an opportunity to give back. And so this includes how we have policies around giving back to local organizations, that whether it is the kids softball league in community to a financial services education program, sponsoring things like that. It can impact whatever company you work at is going to have an ESG program. So the social aspect of how they engage and interact with their community. It also includes how companies engage and interact with their employees. So labor relations and diversity, equity, and inclusion as well, making sure that we are making way for everyone to have thriving careers at MeridianLink. And then G is governance. That's the internal system of practices, controls, and procedures our company needs to govern itself, making effective decisions, complying with the law, obviously super important for public companies like us, also making sure that we comply with our regulatory bodies that are related to being a publicly traded firm, making sure that we're meeting SEC guidelines. So you'll have special attorneys, you'll have compliance officers like Carrie, and you'll have people who are really sharp and have really deep knowledge. So there's a lot of opportunity in fintech for ESG to really make a positive difference. Every slide that I share and that we share has sources. There's a great article from McKinsey, a great report on 5 ways ESG creates value. If you only remember one thing, it's that everything we do to create an ESG program at MeridianLink or whatever company you work at ESG programs create value, and everything we do, whether we know it or not, impacts and is affected by ESG, environmental, social, and governance. So we might as well be doing it right. Okay. Next slide is, again, we're seeing, gosh, I was talking to Carrie about this because we're both have been in our careers for about the same time, and thinking back to 20 years ago when we were just starting out, ESG oriented investing. This means investors will choose, they're like, I want to invest in a company that not only like has a cool product or is doing something that I think will earn money over time. I also want to make sure I'm investing in companies who are doing the right thing for the environment, for their employees, for making sure that they have sound business practices. So ESG oriented investing has gone up. It now tops $30 trillion, which this was just a nascent thing back in 2004, and certainly up 68% now versus back in 2014. We also know that ESG, we prepare a report every year on our environmental, social, and governance initiatives, and companies that are paying attention to ESG, it's just one more thing that they're paying attention to, reporting and monitoring on, and therefore one more way that they can get stronger and better at performance. And so their reporting also shows that if you have a company who's focused on ESG, as you're looking for jobs, look at the company's website, look at their latest ESG report, ask about it if it's not there, because that's a strong indicator of how far along the company is in its growth and their commitment to doing what's right in the community. It also reduces risk, the governance part of ESG, making sure that you know and are following the policies that impact your company and the regulations and rules that impact your company. So just making sure, again, ESG adds value in every step of the way. I will not read this to you. Everyone will get this chart later. But I just wanted to, as I close and then open it up for the two more exciting folks on this call, talk about some of the top line growth, some of the value of ESG. And that first thing is top line growth. Because again, we know that as consumers, we're all consumers. As consumers, we want to invest in companies that are doing the right thing, that aren't just selling us a product or service. Or businesses also ask when they do RFPs, requests for proposals, they want to know not only about the product and service, but how responsible the organization is, how they are good stewards of their environmental, social, and obviously following those governance rules. As we think more about and as we measure our energy consumption, as we measure our recycling, we can realize cost reductions. So even a work from home environment, we've had some fun campaigns educating us on the value of the energy that we use in our own homes. So, those cost reductions flowing through to remote employees is actually kind of a cool thing. Again, regulatory and legal interventions. If you're paying attention to and monitoring and tracking your regulatory environment, you're less likely to run into those fines and fees, and you're more likely to be a corporation can earn subsidies and government support. And then, we all want to work for a place that cares about its employees, that cares about the environment, that cares about what they're giving back to their communities. So that productivity, uplift, and employee motivation. Again, as you're looking for jobs, make sure to check out those ESG reports and see what they say about that. And then asset optimization, making sure that we're enhancing our investment returns, allocating capital for the long term, like a more sustainable equipment, making sure that we're getting the good devices. And then when we retire our devices, like our laptops, that we're going through a recycling program and things like that. And you have just basically an ESG company. Again, it creates value. It also creates shared responsibility and stewardship, which is just such an important thing for organizations these days. But it can be overwhelming. I list here and I link to our ESG report page. So if you want to learn more about MeridianLink, you can certainly link to that and review that. But ESG can make your head spin. There's so much to do, and it's not one specific thing. There are multiple things. So getting started can feel a bit overwhelming, or understanding the importance can feel a bit daunting. But just if you remember just a few things about environmental, social, and governance programs, they contribute to corporate purpose. They absolutely create value. And also, it's the right thing to do. And I don't know about you, but I like to work for a company that's focused on the right thing to do, not only for their customers, but for the environment, for their regulatory environments as well, and for their employees. So how do you get started? I've been here at MeridianLink for 4 years, and I've been here from the time we were a privately held company through our initial public offering and being a publicly traded firm and being a company where we've always given back, but we may not have always reported on the ways that we gave back. I remember the day that Carrie was hired, and I'm so excited now to turn this over to Carrie to talk about building and growing an ESG program.
Thank you, Becky, for that. I guess moving into, with Becky's nice background on like what, the definition of ESG, I'm gonna just give you a brief background of kind of how I came up to be a compliance officer, and really going through like the foundations and like what how ESG was kind of built as a movement, and the kind of nits and details. I have a lot of details. I'm a detailed person. But I've been at MeridianLink for 2 years. I wanted to give, a little kind of, you could see my path there where I majored in accounting. As Becky mentioned, like where we spoke about, I was curious, with people's majors now, because when we were talking, like when we were back in college, like, anything related to like environmental science, or kind of ESG oriented, climate risk, just wasn't there. So I'd like to see what some of your concentrations are. If you want to drop those in the chat, that would be fascinating to see. Because when you're so young, I mean, you don't know what you want to do. So I did go into accounting because I liked numbers. And then my accounting 101 teacher said, if any of you are here who just like math, you're in the wrong major. I panicked. I said, oh no. Because I didn't know, it's like, hey, but I stuck with it. And I know because I always push myself, I, got my CPA, and I've always been kind of driven in that sense, which I can imagine all of you here are in the same position. Put myself through college twice. So, because I went back for a master's. And so I was in public audit, internal audit, then audit consulting. I did revenue recognition for a global company. Then I got into regulatory audit, which really was the backbone of how I transitioned over to compliance. And, you have to have a real interest in just regulations and how they work, and reading them and understanding them, and interpreting them, so you can teach others. And so what has taken me through my career is just like learn every single day. Just, be as broad as you can be with your knowledge, and getting, professional certifications. I want to say, like, throughout my career, there's been so many major movements and changes. This one recently, I wanted to point out that the SEC, just issued their final rule on doing climate disclosures. So public companies are going to have to put an official disclosure in our quarterly and annual reporting, stating, how we're dealing with climate risk and risk assessment, and how we're impacting the environment, and what our board of directors is doing as far as oversight. So I just wanted to point out like how these major changes that do happen creates opportunities. Like when Sarbanes-Oxley came out, so many jobs were created. It's really interesting seeing, these types of shifts, and then you interpret like, oh, this is going to take many more skills to now learn how to do emissions calculations and reporting. So that leads me to the last point there is just be humble. You're not going to know everything all at once. You take it like one day at a time. I make mistakes all the time. I admit them, and then you move on. And then if somebody asks you a question and maybe you don't know, that's okay. You say, hey, I don't know that, but let me get back to you and I'm going to go find out. And that's just been my attitude and approach. So I encourage you to, kind of take that advice from me, because I have been laid off 3 times in my career, and I've had to pick myself right back up after. So moving on to the next, let's get into the very interesting, starting from scratch with an ESG program, which is what I did. When I was hired, it was like 6 months after our IPO. And our general counsel, who I report to, they had hired an advisor, but really needed somebody to lead the front, at MeridianLink to get all of this together, because there's so much information you have to gather, and amongst different departments as well. So I started doing the research, looking at what guidance was out there around ESG, learning the frameworks, looking at other companies' ESG reports. And then you assess what the current, so, I looked at what MeridianLink already had in place, and you basically do a gap analysis compared to, what the guidance is telling you that you should, and best practice, have in place. And so then that gives you a good kind of picture of where you're at now and where you need to work on or prioritize, and where you want to go next. So as I said, I worked a lot with our facilities group to, get the environmental information, information security, on the governance area, and human resources on both the social side and as well as governance, of course. And then once you kind of have the program up, then you're going to continuously do like the monitoring on what's in place and how you can move forward, and with a good focus. So let's move on to the next one. Just some information here, because I wanted to give you some resources if you want to look into it. How, the principles and foundations that, helped me to learn a lot more as to the why. And so you can see the UN Global Compact, and they're striving for human rights, equity, education, anti-corruption. There's sustainable development goals, which we call the UN SDGs. There's 17 there. It is a little small, but it's everyone's right to water, food, justice, like equity in work, equity in education, economic wealth, and that their goal is to achieve this full picture of equity and sustainability by 2030. So it's aggressive, and globally at that. So you can imagine the type of work that will take for us to get there. But it's nice, it kind of comforting to see like this goal that's there and see how many companies and individuals are working towards this and making the world a better place, right? Let's move on to the next slide, Becky, please. And so here you can see the frameworks that are again, the foundation, the pillars of ESG, because, people don't know where to start. And whenever something like this type of movement, there's always kind of guidance that comes out, how we should frame this up, standards that everyone can follow so that there's consistency between the reporting on it and data collection. So SASB is a very popular one because they have also set up frameworks based on industry, and they've only done it on 77 industries. So they keep coming out with like new frameworks as they're developing those on the other industries. And then GRI is another one. I'll let you read through that, and as well as the TCFD. The ratings agencies. So what Becky didn't mention is that, like, while we see all these companies having ESG programs, we're rated, we're scored. And that, as she mentioned, helps the investors understand how, like, the strength of a company's ESG program. And so these ratings you can see here are on a scale of 1 to 10. So like right now, MeridianLink's governance is in the middle. It's at a 5. And you can see primarily, like, even though we have strength in the audit and risk area there, it's really the board, because we're still a controlled company. And I'll just leave it at that, so we don't have to get into those details. And then and just so quickly, but you can see we're much stronger in environment and social. So a lot of the work that I've been doing has been policy development. We have put in place employee resource groups, human rights policies, environmental policies, as well as like philanthropic activities that are geared towards like our company initiatives and what we want to support. So these are just some of the ratings agencies that investors do look to, that do a comprehensive data collection on companies. The fundamentals for fintech. So specifically in fintech, typically it's like what I pointed out, like the other industries here: oil and gas, manufacturing, healthcare. So the importance I put here is, for us, it's really governance, social, and then environment. And I say that because our energy usage and climate impact as a fintech company is not as great or even comparative to the oil and gas and manufacturing industries and healthcare. So we are not going to have as many, the high numbers of emissions, but we can show like our social programs and our governance aspect. So what we've done at MeridianLink is we establish an ESG steering committee. That was, one of the important pillars of having an ESG program is the oversight and who is looking at this. Our board of directors and the committees that do receive reporting on our progress. And that the committee has developed key initiatives, handles the, through the quarterly meetings, like the monitoring and making sure that we are moving forward. Moving on to the next slide. And so this is, I just wanted to highlight like MeridianLink's initiative specifically, that of the 17 SDGs that I mentioned before, we wanted to hone in, identify just a few of those because, we're not like a Coca-Cola. We're actually a US-based technology company. And so we, need to be more specific with what, we want to support and help bring equity to. So we're focusing on those organizations that do support quality education. We make sure that we, as a company, are giving our employees, a good compensation benefits packages, and that we are, as far as we're able to, do have responsible consumption, as low of an impact on the environment as we can. We do use cloud providers for our data centers, and that is really helpful because those cloud providers have put in place a lot of sustainable strategies on like cooling the data centers instead of just using electricity. They're using renewable energy sources. And then lastly, just, equity in, justice and fairness, and, making sure that we're just only supporting those organizations that kind of align with these initiatives. Now, the accomplishments that we've made are very lengthy. Like it's been a nice like really nice progress to see like everything that we've done in the last 2 years. As I mentioned, like policy development, that's really key. Having a really strong code of conduct and making sure that every employee and consultant we have like understands our attitude towards ethical conduct. If you see something, say something. We have our whistleblower reporting. And as I said, the steering committee is already established, meets quarterly. We put in regional volunteer events. So being a remote company makes it a lot more challenging, kind of bringing unity, connection, culture to everyone, because we're literally from all over the country. And so it's interesting now seeing the employee resource groups that are there that bring people together. And like here, I joined like the volunteer event. We went to the Chicago Food Depository and like packed apples. So it was fun. It was great to see, my coworkers that live locally. We have a much greater focus on our philanthropy, thanks to our charitable contributions policy that now drives like our whole company, and that we have formal approvals in place on where our dollars are going. We've also distributed DEI training to everybody. We do now have a DEI committee, so that we make sure that we do, various recruiting efforts to like improve our diversity, and just getting, communicating out to, our managers here that we're trying to, change things for the better, for equity. And then we've started collecting data on our suppliers, and if they're women-owned business or LGBTQ plus. And so we'll be able to report on that as well. So moving on, forward-looking, where we're at now is I'm about to execute a materiality assessment. And I know that sounds intimidating, but what it really means is looking at, as I mentioned, like the gaps that we've identified and what we don't have right now. We can't do it all, right? And you kind of want to have like a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year plan. And what helps you with that is getting stakeholder feedback on what is important, like what's important to our employees, what's important to our investors. And that will help us looking at the materiality and the priority of what we should be focusing on in the short term versus long term. So that would be what will come out of that materiality assessment. And we will be doing quarterly communications. Becky knows, she's also on the ESG steering committee. And that I want to start up an environmental newsletter so that we can get people more engaged, at home as well. And that we're really focused on our DEI efforts as well. And that we do continue like the breadth and frequency of like our volunteering, because we do have actually paid day for all of our employees to go do that volunteering in their communities. And also just accountability, where we need to just the importance of doing like compliance training and really understanding, the laws of being in a public company and, a fintech company, and our responsibility towards, giving software to financial institutions so that we are bringing equity to, those people who, otherwise can't access resources, assets. And I think, so that's I guess moving on, that's just a kind of a brief picture there with the kind of where we want to go. And then I guess we'll have a Q&A at the end. Right now I want to go to our key person, Elena, about working at MeridianLink.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. My name is Yelena Nikolov. I am a senior talent acquisition partner here at MeridianLink. I've been with the company for about 3 years, and I'm going to go over just a high-level overview on our organization, explain what we do, and hopefully give a little color on what it feels like to work here. So as far as the company MeridianLink, we are a B2B loan origination platform company. We're based out of Costa Mesa, California, outside of LA. We have over 600 employees working for us in the company. We've been around for 25 years. We are a software as a service provider, SaaS company, offering cloud-based technology to financial institutions, primarily to banks and credit unions. This slide will show our vision, mission, and our values that we live by every day. So our vision is to power life's important financial moments. Our mission is to be the most trusted financial services technology platform. And our values are deliver on our commitments. Customer success is our success. Improve every day and stronger together. MeridianLink is based out of Costa Mesa, California. However, we are a remote-first organization, so we are geographically spread out within the United States. I am actually basically out of Atlanta, Georgia. All of us are spread out. You can work anywhere within the United States for MeridianLink except Hawaii, Puerto Rico, and Alaska. We are a great place to work certified company, and we have been for the past 3 years in a row. We're very proud of this certification. This is done by a third-party surveying company that solicits feedback anonymously from employees. So most people that work here, they generally feel that they felt welcome when they joined the company. They're given enough responsibilities here. Management is not watching over their shoulders, and we can take time off at any time whenever is necessary. Company culture. So this is my favorite slide. I feel like I get this question asked a lot as a recruiter. What does it feel like to work at MeridianLink? And there are a few things that stick out to me the most. Remote is a big component of our culture. You do have to work independently, but also being a part of our teams. We have over 600 employees working here. So we are at the mid-sized, but we feel we have like a smaller company vibe to us, almost like a family type. We have a lot of individuals that work here that come from financial services industry. So they either worked at the bank or credit union before. We are customer service oriented type of personnel. So one of the core values that we live by is the customer success is our success. And we're really, truly passionate about it. This is just something that feels throughout the company. People are very supportive, very nice and kind. We're just here for each other, and it just really, truly feels that way. We have a great work-life balance, and we have a supportive culture in a way that if you need to take time off, a company will work with you and will allow you to take time off whenever it's necessary. MeridianLink offers comprehensive benefits package to our employees. We offer medical, dental, vision plan. We have 401k, which is 50% matching up to 8% of your annual contributions. It will be capped out at $4,000 a year. We have 3 weeks PTO. We have 5 sick days. We have 10 company-wide holidays that we are observing. We have ESPP program that stands for Employee Stock Purchasing Program, where you can buy stocks at the discounted price. And one of the perks is also for we get home office and internet stipends. I love the slide because it actually does show the first stock pictures is our Atlanta-based employees. We volunteered with Open Hand Atlanta, where we served food to underprivileged citizens. So company gives us 8 hours per year to volunteer. So the company will organize regional types of volunteering opportunities for us to get together. So last year we had a few times where we volunteered in Atlanta. I know we also had volunteering opportunities done in Utah, in California, and Chicago. So it's just a great way for us to serve the community, and also, like Carrie pointed out, for us to get together, like working in a remote setting. It's always nice to see employees, fellow employees face to face. We have a mentorship program established at MeridianLink, and it's designed to last for about 3 months, where any new employee joining the company will be paired with someone senior on the team, and that mentor will be responsible for making sure the new employee feels comfortable within the company. They know about the systems that we're using, the tools that we're using. You can ask that mentor questions in regards to the job itself or industry. That person will make sure that you have all the ropes to succeed with an organization. This is a dear to my heart slide. I love our ERGs. We have 4 created, so this slide is a little bit outdated. We have one for women in tech. We have one for mental health, which is great minds don't think alike. We have one for pride, and recently we have one also created for working parents. I'm a part of most of those ERGs, and we meet regularly once a month, and it's a great way for us to stay connected, to show support for one another, and it truly does creates a feeling of belonging. This slide shows our entry-level positions that we had within our company recently that are technical roles. Those are entry-level that do not require any previous experience. Not all of our positions are technical that are entry-level. We do have different departments where we have entry-level needs available sporadically, but those roles, I would say, they come up more frequently, especially the client support specialist role that I will tell a little bit more on the next slide. So this is a slide to show client support specialist career progression within the company. So someone in this role will be typically come in without any previous experience. That will be someone that can have a bachelor's degree and maybe previous experience working in a customer service type of role. And you can tell from the slide that there's just a lot of different avenues that this person can move into within our organization. So you can move into more technical role to be part of the integration team. You can grow within your client support organization and become a lead, so move into like a leadership type of role, or you can move into an implementation role. So our company, we allow internal mobility. It's one of the ways how we develop our employees, and it is truly a part of our culture to promote from within. And that's quick overview on the hiring process, and we're here to answer any questions that anybody might have.
Well,
Sure,
Lavinda, I
I've-
think you're on mute.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
We have a question in the chat. Does the company offer sponsorships for international students?
We do, but I would say not typically. So we have positions that are technical, that are hard to fill roles, that we will make an exception and we will allow sponsorship, but I would say those are a few.
Thank you. And we have another, what qualities and experiences does MeridianLink typically look for in candidates?
That's a great question. I would say, well, previous fintech experience will be highly beneficial. Someone that will come with financial services knowledge will be definitely have a leverage. We like a lot of great attitude, enthusiasm, great communication skills, just someone who is very excited, who's done research on the company, who brings a lot of energy. That goes a long, long way.
But also down to earth.
Down to earth, exactly.
we don't like egos here.
Yes,
so,
yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Great, great. And does MeridianLink offer internships?
We do not have internships, so we typically would hire for someone straight out of school, entry level, full-time role.
And students, feel free to unmute or turn your camera on and ask any questions that you may have. Okay, where can we go to apply for the entry-level positions?
All of our positions will be posted on our website, so meridianlink.com under career section. We currently don't have a whole lot. So we have one for BDR, business development representative, which is will be somewhat junior type of role. We have implementation project management role that requires 2 years of experience. But I would say the best way, so just continue monitoring our website or feel free to reach out to me directly. I am pretty responsive, so you can reach out to me. We can get connected on LinkedIn, and I usually will advertise positions on LinkedIn, or you can just email me directly, and I will be happy to look into any roles.
Great, great. Any more questions? I think we have a shy group even at noon.
What if they're all AI bots?
Yeah.
That's another thing. Everyone, AI. Holy cow. That's another massive movement and change where there will be many opportunities there.
I agree.
AI governance is coming. There's going to be a whole new framework just around AI and how ethical conduct with AI. Lots to learn.
Okay, well, I guess if we don't have any. Oh, go ahead.
I have a question. This is for
Great.
Carrie. So I'm currently doing SOC auditing, and I know you've done a lot of auditing yourself. And I just want to ask, what made you want to switch into like different types of auditing? Like, why not just stick with one?
Sure. It's mostly because of my personality is I can't do like the same thing. That's what drew me into audit rather than like a general accounting role. I saw how general accounting, it was like, it just felt like, oh, so repetitive and I didn't want to do journal entries every month and do month-end close and quarter close. I wanted to know about it. So I thought audit was better. I like project management. That's what audits are. They're just all, mini projects, and you get to work in so many different areas of the company being an auditor. So the really in going to the different types is I just wanted to keep, that was my whole attitude, is to keep learning and trying different things. So I did try, a few different industries. At one point in my career, I wanted to be a fraud examiner because that just sounded exciting to me. I want to do investigations. That didn't really pan out because ironically, like they want somebody who's done investigations, so it's like, it's kind of that cart before the horse. Like, okay, I need the experience to go do what I want to do, but I'm not going to get that until like somebody gives me a chance, right? But I enjoyed like doing the consulting. Everything I did that I stepped into just expanded my horizons of my knowledge. And so that's what I'm telling to you all, that don't be stagnant. Go try something different. What drew me to compliance was just my long career in audit. It was very natural for me, where I realized I did enjoy kind of the regulatory environment, and I'd always worked in kind of more financial services. And so it just really came natural to me that I knew like the whole governance framework, and, having implemented Sarbanes-Oxley at a company. And I know I'm talking a lot, but I just have so So much information, but I hope that answers your question and to, where, why I don't like, staying in kind of one spot mentally.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and I just added the website, the career site in the chat. So hopefully that's the right link, Yelena.
Feel free to reach out to me directly. I'll be
Yeah,
happy
and
to
please
help.
connect with me on LinkedIn, please. And I'm happy to give anybody, career advice. I've seen a lot, I've done a lot. So is Becky, so is Yelena. We all have a lot of knowledge, and have seen a lot. We've had bad bosses, we've had good bosses. I'm very fortunate now. There's a huge difference between those. And right now I have an excellent boss and she's so supportive. If you want advice on remote working, it fits my lifestyle. I have small children. I enjoy my home office. I have a nice setup. um, but I will say I was very comfortable being in a remote environment because as an auditor, I was very used to doing my work remotely. I wasn't always traveling to the place that I was auditing. And so it did come naturally to me. And of course, the pandemic kind of forced everybody kind of, into that. But if you're just starting out in your career, you do need to work harder at building your connections and, being part of groups and resource type, business environments, business groups. Be active in your, once you graduate, your alumni connections and going to those events. So that's my advice.
Well,
Right.
I can offer advice too, just for someone that starts out and then you in a career, going through the interviewing process and not having a lot of previous experience. It goes a long way when you do research on the company, when you come prepared, when you come bring good questions, when you show that you've done the homework, and just that those soft skills like energy, enthusiasm, how much you care, what brought you to this company, and why you want to be here. It goes a long way. It really truly does.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been on both ends of being interviewed and interviewing people, and I can definitely tell you, I can tell the people that did the background work and did come prepared, with compared to, the others that did not and didn't know anything about the job they were applying to or the company. And also, like, every time I interview, and I've been on thousands of interviews, I always wrote out my questions. I prepared my responses. I found, templates of, what are behavioral interview questions. Just it helps you just to kind of have an idea in your mind of when you do get the question, because you're nervous, right? You're always nervous. And so doing that was always my activity, writing everything out, kind of looking through my notes, and that always helped.
Great. I feel like my son needed to be on this be in this meeting.
That's hilarious.
I just emailed you the PDF of today's
Okay.
presentation. So it also has that
Great.
registration link if people want to download that. So if you want to send that to everyone. Thank you to
Okay.
everyone for participating today. This has been exciting.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Thank you for
Yes,
having
and
us.
thank you all. Thank you for taking the time to speak with our students today. We really do appreciate it. Yelena, feel free to reach out anytime. If there are any positions that you would like for me to post on our website, feel free to send those and I'll get it
Definitely.
posted.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so
All
much.
right. Well, thank you, and everyone have a wonderful day. Thanks so much. Reach
Thank
out,
you.
students, if you have any questions as well during the week. And I'll put my email address in the chat if I didn't
Bye.
already.
Bye. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Bye.
Mhm.
Thank you.